Steve Mandell is the CEO of Gameplan Entertainment. Gameplan developed games for the NFL, MLB, CNN, Caesars Palace, and lots more. As an entertainment attorney, entrepreneur, and sports and entertainment marketing expert, Steve has negotiated more than 1,000 international and national agreements in media, licensing, and brand development, estimating deals in excess of over $100 million. Hello and welcome to Talk Business with Steve.
Happy to see you, Dave. How are you doing?
Yeah, so good. Really excited to get to speak to you, Steve. Thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
Steve, you are the man when it comes to celebrity brand management. Who are some of the biggest names you have worked with, and how did you get into it?
Well, you know what? I mean, there's a lot of names I like to work. I don't really like to name drop, so let's just leave the names off of it for the most part. But I'm involved in a lot of people in sports, entertainment. And so I got involved in it because I started working at a sports agency right out of law school. And when I started working in law school as a traditional lawyer, I was cross-pollinated into the other areas of all sports and all the marketing aspects of it. But I've always been an entrepreneur in that sense. So we'll talk about the entrepreneurship avenue. But from that, I actually had a couple of businesses before I became an attorney. One, I started a dining service and a club. And I started going out after waiting for my bar exam to pass and drove about 160 restaurants, signed up 125 restaurants, and did a dining club. When I passed the bar exam, I sold my business to a big company called Entertainment, which is an entertainment coupon book with, like, you may have had it in London and maybe not, certainly in the States. And so it was my first exit. But when I got into the sports agency world, I wanted to be an attorney, but I also want to learn how to really market and brand and market and, big products and add celebrity and talent to the table as well. And one of my first projects was a board game company, which thank you very much for laying that out. There were two other partners. We were discussing whether drop kicks were legal in the NFL, went to Toys R Us, which was a big game company at the time, and said there's nothing like this, and so on and so forth, and went to the NFL and said, look, we'd love to get a license for it. And they said, look, you guys, that's great. We'll give you a conditional license, but find a company that knows how to make board games, because you guys don't know what the heck you're doing. Okay. So we went to Toy Fair and we're shopping around and talked to people, help us out. There's a game concept we have. Everyone turned us down. Everyone, big companies, small companies, whatever. I heard it's too niche. Trivial Pursuit just came out, too hard to market it. We need 2 years to do some research on it and focus groups. We went back to the NFL, and that was January that year. It was in the 90s. And I said to the NFL, look, nobody really wants to do it with us. Give us a chance, right? No one else wants to do it. We have enough contacts, connections. Let us fly with it. So really learning off the fly, went and got a packager, packaged our games. He was actually in the meat packing industry. So he did stuff with hot dogs and burgers and stuff. He goes, hey, this sounds fun. I can make something really fun out there. So he jumped on board. And to this day, Bill, I bless his soul, he did a great job for us and launched the game company. I wound up buying out and working a deal with my two partners and exiting. And I had the company myself, and I owned Gameplan.com, which I had a big exit with Gameplan.com, the URL, because we bought it in 1995. And then also continued on with the brand for several years and continued to this day to own the company, but really now converted all my marketing expertise into Gameplan Entertainment and Gameplan Enterprises. In the meantime, always work with celebrities along the way to brand some of their products. And so, it's been fun doing food products, doing licensed shirts and clothing, any number of things, app development. My partner's a 30 under 30 guy for Forbes magazine. And we got a brand new app on the market called Chic Sketch, which is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. Take a selfie of yourself or a photo, send it in, it comes back with live illustration, so on and so forth. So that's my origination in that space. But because of my entry is in the sports agent world, working with top level people in sports and media, and representing them and being their lawyers, and then ultimately representing them as the agent, so to speak. I wore a lot of different hats, but more importantly, I applied it really into the marketing space. Yeah.
Steve, there's going to be about 50,000 people listening to this right now thinking, I have really wasted my life. You've crammed so much in to what you've achieved so far, right? I mean, how have you managed your work-life balance over the years to be able to be so productive and to have achieved so much?
It's so funny. I've been listening to some podcasts lately and some other people too. And I think that some people come out there and they say, there's no such thing as balance. Keep going. And some people are like, you need balance. We got both sides of the spectrum. For me, life balance, whatever you want to say, is critically important, right? Because if you're doing all this on the business side, what are you doing it for? Like, really, is it for ego? Is it for just to say you're successful, or is it help be with your family? Like, for me, it's like, I love what I do in my career. I love it because that's kind of my business family, everything I do on the career side. And I literally coach people all over the world right now, and I'm international deals. I got a football league in India. I got business in Australia, got business in London. I got all kinds of things going on. And yet at the end of the day, though, people are like, how do you do it? How do you do it? Like, you asked me a question. When I shut it off, I shut it off. I love to work out. I train even during the day when I'm doing, calls and things like that too. I will work out at noon and I'll work out again at night because it clears my brain.
Yeah.
So balance on the physical side is critically important, because if you're not healthy, I can't do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
And number two, then I want to be there for my family. And I travel an awful lot with my family. And as long as I got a phone and a computer, I find my pockets of time where I'm not interfering, but it's balancing. And sometimes it is difficult. There's no two ways about it. But you have to make sure that you say to yourself at the end of the day, and I love when I hear this all the time, people are like, nobody at the end of the day are sitting on their deathbed and they go, oh, if I just worked one more day.
Yeah.
Okay. They talk about the relationships they've missed, the times with family and friends they missed. And so I maximize that. I'm with my parents all the time, my family all the time. I love being with my friends. I got still a nucleus of friends from high school and a couple of friends from college and law school. And then I still have a big unit with that I love to hang out with and communicate with.
Yeah. You must have been offered so many deals and investments over the years. How do you know what the right deal is? And talk us through that process.
My process is really very, very, very important to me. Process with everything is very important to me. Okay. Structure to deals is very important to me, and due diligence. So, I mean, it always starts out with just getting to know somebody and seeing what they're about. Because people are like, you're investing into people, you're investing in people. Yeah, you're investing in people, but you're also investing in the business and the idea. And those two things have to come together. So I look at the idea or ideation. In other words, sometimes people have an idea or they're still ideating an idea. So I'd like to get involved early. I kind of like the early part of it. Like, I like to go through the thought process, like the board games. When I had the board games, like, what's next? Like, how do I play? And I had this unique ability to be able to create gameplay in a board game. I can't draw. I can't sing. I can dance a little bit. But the bottom line is I know how to make a board game. It's just the craziest little trait I can do. I can sit there and lay a board game. You tell me come with a board game in an hour, I can do it. Yeah. My point is I like to see the plan, right? Just like coming up with that board game. I like to see the plan. Like, what do you have? Tell me what your strategies are. What business does it disrupt? What are you changing? What are you implementing? What are you improving? Like, how does it all come together, right? In terms of why I want to be an investor or a consultant to a business, tell me what you have going there. And then you certainly, through that process, you get to know the individuals that you're actually going to spend time with, whether you're an investor or a partner or a consultant, and that's how you kind of make your decisions. Yeah. After it passes that first phase, there's another phase, and that's called due diligence. Like, I need to go out in the market. I need to Google everything. I look at intellectual property. I want to see if they say they have a patent or a trademark, send it to me. Let me see if it's real. You told me you had a certain amount of sales. Let me check to see if that's real. You have a license. Let me see if that's real, right? You start to come together. And then once I have that, I ask some questions to them. And then maybe if it's a space I'm not 100% familiar with, I'll go to people that I think that are experts in that space and really flush out whether or not what they're saying is really true and whether or not there's a real market to really grow. I only want to be a part of things that can really make grow. Other than that, I'm a coach to help people along in their own ways, but that's not my favorite thing to do. So all those steps are important. That doesn't mean it takes a lot of time. And sometimes things hit me off the top, right? Because I love it right from the get-go, like the Indian Football League. I have a guy came up to me in 2012 and said, I really want to start American football in India. And I go, tell me about India. And he goes, well, you know what? I had a container business. I've been in there for 10 years. India has 1.4 billion people. We have 325 million people. Half their population is under the age of 25. That means if we doubled our population in the States or maybe London or in England, double the population, imagine everybody being under 25. So they want new and unique rather than some of the stuff that's been around there for a while. Obviously, there's other sports with cricket and rugby and things like that have been their national pastime. And I said, literally, my gut too. I just went, I'm in. Slam the table. I'm in. Let's work it out. Because I felt it. And some things I go with passion with. And sometimes, you got to go with that. And then, you might take some deep dives into that and find out it's not real. Okay, I get it. But if I love it, I'm going to find a way to make it work. I raised all the original money for the company. It was a husband and wife routine. And now we have celebrities on top of that. We got Kurt Warner, the actor, who's an equity owner in it. And Mark Wahlberg, the actor. And we have Kurt Warner, who's involved in it, a famous football player, and Michael Irvin, Mike Ditka, all kinds of NFL type athletes from the States that we think could be a great brand, for the business. So that's my process. And then as a lawyer, I put an agreement together to make sure that process is communicated properly in the agreement in terms of what's the structure, right? Because a lot of people get to that point where I'm at right now. You hear the same thing. Oh, I go through the people. It's all about the people. It's about the business. Great. It's a lot of cliche stuff. But as an attorney now, I look at it and say, this is only going to work if the structure is properly. done, right? So I get in there now, due diligence about how's your structure set up, and are you structured? Are you built to succeed? You might have a great idea and be built for success in terms of ideation and ideas, but are you built to succeed because the structure is proper, right? Are the agreements properly structured out? Do you have the proper distribution relationships, management relationships, software relationships, SaaS model relationships, right? Do you have the proper people building your web platform for e-commerce, for scalability? Okay, all those things go into it. Do you know Amazon? Do you need people on Amazon? So I have experts in all these spaces. I mean, we have a massive business on Amazon, direct response advertising as well, to do stuff on QVC and shop television as well. So you got to look at the totality of everything coming in. But I take it an extra level because as an attorney, I say, okay, well, I'm only halfway there if I like all the other stuff.
Yeah. The
structure better be right. Because sometimes I get in deals and go, it's all perfect except your structure, your cap table is ridiculous. You have no stock left. Yeah. You have no room to build. You have no room to make money. So that's a deeper dive into discussion for another podcast. But nonetheless,
for sure. Steve, what common traits do you see in the most successful people that you work with?
Oh, wow. It's really interesting. You know what? I mean, perseverance, right? Intellect and perseverance. And sometimes you don't even have to be that smart, but if you're persevering, you're open, you come at it from a humble perspective and not have any ego, that to me is really important because, I'm always willing to listen. It's okay for me to call up sometimes. I'll be in a meeting sometimes and everyone thinks I'm the smartest guy in the room, right? And I'll come to them and say, okay, I'm the dumbest guy in the room. Tell me what this means. People are like, what does that mean? Nobody ever admits that, but it's because I'm admitting I'm human and I process very quickly. So if there's a whole, I'll get on and I'll do a lot of Clubhouse things and things along those lines. And people are like, everything. One of the conversations I have, and one of the hosts always goes, Steve knows everything about everything. Well, it's because I research everything about everything because I'm really interested. But some things I don't know, I don't mind asking all the deep questions because I'm actually genuinely curious and interested in how people process things. Yeah. And on my free time, I watch a lot of documentaries about life and real situations because it helps me process, right? And learn and create this ability to kind of really kind of be in the know about a lot of things. So I could be talking to you about, anything in science with my son, like dark matter and machine learning and artificial intelligence, which is above and was above my head at one point and still is probably a lot above my head, but enough to have like a decent exchange to want to learn more. I know an awful lot about supplements and nutrition and health and medical and wellness because that's my personal side of things I like to do for myself, but they got me into biotech and I learned and I read about drug development and different diseases and all kinds of therapies for therapeutics and things like that. So I'm very interested in that as an investor as well. And so to me, it's the curious mind. It's the one who's willing to listen. And then obviously the other leadership skills that you're going to need really help me be successful with me in either investing or consulting or working with your company.
Yeah. Entrepreneurs born or built?
Funny. I did a whole debate about that the other day. I mean, I think they're built. Okay. Certainly there's some born leaders. I get it. Right. But there's born everything. It doesn't mean I can't be great. There's born athletes that are born with the right musculature. I did one of those 23andMe reports. They tell you how your muscles are structured and you're more likely to be an athlete or not an athlete, whatever it's going to be. And they break it out. I get that part. Okay. But the reality is that, why can't we change everything? I believe in your own destiny. I believe in that you're there, but why can't you learn everything? I mean, I wasn't a born attorney. I wasn't born to write great contracts. I learned it. I learned it because I watched great people do it throughout my career because I was interested in learning, becoming an expert. I wasn't born to be somebody that knew karate, but I started taking karate and I've been doing it for 20 years. And I feel very adept at learning all the katas and everything else and becoming, I wouldn't say an expert of experts, but certainly really well adept at it because I learned it. So I don't believe in as born to be anything. I do think people have born leadership skills, and I get that. We've all gone to grade school, and some people just trip over themselves, and they just no matter what they do the wrong thing. And I guess you could say that maybe certain people are born to just be leaders or whatever. But that doesn't mean that some of the people that went through those steps earlier on aren't the greatest leaders in the world. Okay, Jeff Bezos, who talks about his struggles in childhood, where maybe people didn't see that leadership. They saw a different. I think he called himself weird at times or not, or people would think he was weird when he wasn't. He was a genius right? And so why are we judging at a young age whether you're born or you're made? The truth of the matter is anybody, I believe, can overcome any deficiency they have. Yeah. Maybe not physically. I mean, I'm not going to go in a basketball court and out-dunk Michael Jordan, right? Although I try to play as good basketball as I can and be the best I can. Yeah. But I think when it comes to intellect and brain, to me, that you can compete at any level. Yeah. So yeah, you don't have to be 7 foot tall playing the NBA in the brain game, right? You got one, go out there and learn, and just make it your passion. And I don't care what your hurdles are on the educational side. And you know what? If you want leadership skills, go watch videos and learn and get coaching how to become a leader and practice and go and attack it and do everything you can to master that. And yes, I think you can make anything. I don't believe in that. That's an impediment to becoming successful or having great leadership skills.
Yeah. As someone that has heard a lot of them, what makes a great pitch?
Wow. Number one, you must be succinct. Know your numbers right off the bat. In other words, 2 things, and I'll just take you through it. Describe the business quickly, succinctly, with all the details. So if anybody ever asks you, well, I don't get it, now you know you're in trouble, right? Secondly, after you describe what your business is, tell us what it is intended to do. Does it disrupt an existing technology? Is it a brand new technology nobody ever even heard about? So it's its own category altogether. Are you improving upon a category that's already out there? Okay. Or is this just hope and prayer, right? Because sometimes you look away and go, you're just hoping to do something. But bottom line is describe all those elements. That's the first phase. Secondly, describe the financial model. Here is the financial model, and here is my ask. Okay. Next, how are you going to use the use of funds? People are so reluctant to say, hey, I want $2 million for 20% of my business. And okay, and for what? Well, I think that's the value. People jump into that's the valuation. Okay, I get that's the valuation, but really, what do you need the funds for? Because if you don't need the funds, why are you here? Yeah. You're there really because you need funds for something. So I want you to tell me what you need the funds for. Once you explain to me what the funds are for, then I also want to take a deeper dive into who are you? Why are you the right person to do this? And if you're not the right person to do this, do you have other people around you to make your package, your cabinet, so to speak, your presidential cabinet, so to speak, the group around you to help give you the expertise that you need? Yeah. Why should we, invest in you? So that's critically important. And then it's how you handle yourself, and how you handle yourself in the pitches that you have to show that you are willing to listen and willing to be coached, right? Because sometimes you have great pitches from people and they come across as difficult. And you'll be like, how about if you did it this way? No, this is the way I am doing it. Yeah. Boom. Yeah. Now, some people, then at that point, you're investing in somebody who's an expert. Maybe you just go for the ride. Yeah. But you have to make that judgment call, because at the end of the day, it's the people you're investing in. If it doesn't work, I don't care what agreement you have written down, if it doesn't work amongst yourselves on the personal level, that agreement, someone's going to find a way to try and get out of the agreement, disrupt the agreement, breach the agreement, sue you on the agreement, and then at some point, the relationship separates no matter how it gets to that point. Yeah.
What deal has given you the most joy? But before you tell us about that, let's go to our sponsor.
The investment in the video worked wonders for our business. I actually got better results than what I was expecting to.
Video is a really important marketing tool because it allows us to present ourselves in a very different way.
It went down an absolute storm.
I was really impressed with.
We had over 260,000 views and was shared and liked 8,000 times.
It definitely overgrew my expectations.
There was certainly an uptake on business, without a doubt.
That video is working, so it was worth every single penny.
It did everything I wanted it to do. It really got to me.
It's generated a lot of traffic and a lot more work for us, and ultimately generated more profit for the business.
I'm so glad I work with these guys. So I have instructed them again.
We've gone back again this year.
Definitely the way forward.
Fans of the Talk Business With show benefit from our exclusive rate through our partnership with Animate Our Logo. Visit animateourlogo.com to unlock the discounted rate.
Before the break, Steve, you were just about to tell us what deal has given you the most joy.
There's a couple of deals. I have to say the Football League in India gave me the most joy, because I'm affecting another group of people in a completely separate part of the world, in a country that, is growing like crazy. And it's exciting to bring a traditional type of thing I'm passionate about here with football and this league, and go there and have like an impactful relationship with this country and the people there. Because everybody that's involved in that deal, and Kurt Warner is one of my partners in that deal. He was actually on 60 Minutes, a very famous TV show here in the States. And they actually followed him to India to follow and watch and give footballs out to the kids and see that we can effectuate some change, because they know certain sports here. But then we went to the universities and we started doing licensing deals, and then we brought basketball, college basketball, and we're doing some other really cool things there. So it's got a deep rooted passion for me. Another one I just really I've done recently is a company called Pure Green. It's a juice company, and I love the juice and also make smoothies and keep myself very healthy. And so we'll have about 300 franchises in the United States. We got about 22 right now, and I'm on the board there as well, and a major equity holder. And I just love that personal side. When you ask me about how I keep myself, balanced, it's one of the reasons I love to make acai bowls and healthy drinks and juices and juice shots. And then they invited me out to be a part of this company. I jumped in 2 feet because that was passion. Yeah. So is it my most proud moments are really representing people that I also, those are entrepreneurial deals, and there's tons of others I have. Maybe my first one, having my window washing company, was a kid that got me money for prom because I didn't have money for prom. Lots of layers to all these discussions, but it also puts a smile on my face when I'm helping other people in their agreements, and they look at me, and I've got letters from some of my clients just going on the representation side. You've changed my life. Thank you. I've got money forever. I can't thank you enough. Anytime I get those types of letters, as a lawyer, I've represented people in very difficult situations, got them out of very hard situations, and they said, you've changed my life. Thank you. That's the most rewarding deep down. That's not a deal. That's a personal, it's a personal attribute that a personal feeling I get from those representations that make me feel really special.
Yeah, sure. For anyone that has been on Clubhouse, they will almost certainly have bumped into JT Foxx. I know you're good friends with him, and we are big fans of him as well. What's he like in real life, and how did you guys meet?
Oh, well, first of all, he tells the story. He goes, Steve Mandell turned me down 11 years ago. I walked in his office, and so I love hearing the story. I laugh every time because it's tongue in cheek. The truth of the matter is, JT came in the office. It's not that I turned him down. He was starting to build real estate, which was really interesting in the Chicago area. But I was investing in my own properties because me and my wife, and so it's kind of like I already was making all my ROI by myself. I didn't want to really split it, and that's really came down to when I'm doing real estate. I don't need 10 people around me. I like to buy my own properties and own them because that's really part of my financial plan, right? I like to buy them, rent them, or flip them and have that cash flow for the rest of my life. And that's always been what I've been talking to people about on stage as well. And JT was all about, let's partner up and put a group together and go. And it was really kind of a side hobby at the time for me. And when you asked me about balance, it was something I was doing with my wife and my family. I just felt like, I always kept that separate as a result of that. So but JT also wanted me to travel, and he was traveling all over the globe, as you know, South Africa and China and Indonesia. And he was like, come here. I'm like, I just couldn't. I had 3 kids, and I had the choice of balance. Like you asked me, I could travel with them, go around the world every day, and I wouldn't have known my family. Or I could have, what I felt was the absolute most important thing in my life, and that's my family. I'm close to my kids. I coached all these games. I showed up at every single sporting event. I would have a business deal. I was coaching my son's basketball team, and he had a game on Tuesday night. Okay, and I'd have 3 days of business in New York. I flew Monday to New York for my business meetings. Flew home Tuesday to come home coach his basketball game, and came back Wednesday so I could make back the meetings. Okay, like literally, that's what I would do so I could be there for my family, and it's my most prideful thing to tell you the truth of, because I don't care about anything else in business. If it ever goes away, I got relationships and my love of my family, and that's all I care about.
Yeah.
But getting back to JT, he is a funny, silly, interesting guy, and he makes me laugh. And there's going to be some naysayers out there and stuff like that, and there's jealousies and there's issues, and there's always going to be. When you're the president or you're the prime minister or anything in any country, or you're the king, if anybody wanted to vote you out and you went to an election, what? 60-40 pretty much, right? Or 50-50, or, it's very close. My point is, more times than not, you win by a slight majority. The rest of the country doesn't necessarily like you. Yeah. My point is with JT is that, sometimes he'll come on and he'll be affected by some things that people may say or may not say. And bottom line is, he's a great guy. He's silly. He's fun. He's very astute, and he's really learned his ropes from being a listener. Like I said, he spent a lot of money on coaching. And like I said, born leaders or not born leaders didn't matter. And I think he's a born leader, but even if he wasn't a born leader, he went and got coaching to make himself a leader.
Yeah. Steve, I've just absolutely loved our conversation, and the time has absolutely flown by. Before we close, do you have anything else that you'd like to add? And also, you've got to let everyone know how they can keep in touch with you and follow you on your journey.
Well, you know what? You certainly go and check me out. In fact, you can send me an email if anybody wants, or go DM me on my Instagram, which is Steve Mandell Game Plan. Look for Game Plan on there. I also, from Clubhouse, I've got steveclubhouse@gmail.com, because I figured all the inquiries from there. And then we kind of go from that standpoint and have some contact. It's great being here. You're a testament in terms of who could be successful in life is anyone. You're sitting at home. I'm sitting home here. You're connecting me up, right? 12,000 miles away, where it is, 25,000 miles away, and you're showing how you can be an entrepreneur yourself. So my closing arguments is that I'm all for the entrepreneur. I love what I do. I love pitches. I love taking pitch meetings because I love hearing people. I like the interaction. I like the passion. I like to coach them, even if I can't really help them. I like to say, just go over there. This is the person to help you. Yeah. So, I have a lot of fun when I do. I tell people to just keep a very happy spirit when you're doing whatever you're doing, because that's what's most important. Try and keep yourself as healthy as possible, because, if you're not healthy and you can't do the things you want to do, you're never going to be happy. The most important thing I do is I always wanted to continue to play sports with my kids. I play my son basketball one-on-one, although he shoots the lights out of the ball and then chasing all over the court. The fact is that's what motivates me, to hang out and be with my family, my friends, and add that business element to me that really excites me on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, Steve, we're going to put the links to your Instagram and to your Clubhouse and your email in the description below. Thanks again for your time, Steve. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.